Hey everyone, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty, aka Beth Bookish, and this is my spring haul. You'll notice this is a much smaller haul than the ones, because there was a plural, that were my winter haul, and that is because my book buying slowed right down. In fact, the majority of these physical books were actually purchased in the final week of spring. And I've also read a fair few of these already, which I think is really cool. But basically for spring, so this is February, March and April's books, I just took a bit of a sort of a break with trying to buy books, and I really wanted to focus on reading the books I already owned. But there were a few that I ended up buying for various reasons, and then in April my mood kind of tanked and I ended up buying some emotional support purchases. But starting off, I'm going to go with the Audible books because I obviously have an Audible subscription. And then in, I think it was either March or April, they had a sale on where it was buy two for one. And so I was like, cool, let's see what's on there. And I picked up two new ones. So the first of these that I got were the remaining three books in the Raven Cycle trilogy. As you know, I read the Raven Boys last year, really enjoyed it. And then this year I was like, right, I need to get back to this series. And I just downloaded all three, read them all back to back. And that series is now in my all-time favourites. And then in that sale, there was Circe, which I've had on my shelves for ages and I've really been struggling to pick up and want to read. And I've heard that the audiobook is fantastic, and at the minute I am finding that when I'm struggling with the physical read, if I go onto audio, I'm having a much easier time of it. So I picked up Circe, and then when I was looking through the rest of the books, the only one that really stood out to me and caught my attention was one by Felicia Day, who is an actress I absolutely adore. I've loved her ever since I saw her on Supernatural. She played Charlie. And I've seen her in things since, and I've seen her as herself, and she's just so cool. And she's definitely one of us nerds. And so she has written a book called Third Eye, and it's got like a really big cast of characters, including Will Wheaton, I believe, is one of the narrators. And I was just like, boom, done, in. And then the final one that I picked up from the Audible side of things was Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I've read two books by Alex E. Harrow, loved both, and so I thought this would be a perfect one. And this one's kind of like a bit more gothic, a bit more atmospheric, and it involves sort of like going into an underworld, and it's like, I think it's an unexpected inheritance. And it's got a few buzzwords in there that are things that I am currently enjoying or wanting to read. So I was like, okay, let's get that. And the fact that it's Alex E. Harrow. Guaranteed I'm gonna want it. Then, quite by coincidence, I am doing a vlog series soon where I'm reading people's favourite books to find out if we are bookishly compatible. One of the people, unsurprisingly, is Ren. I mean, I can't really not do Ren. And one of them that they chose for me to read was the remaking of Corbin Whale. I looked on Libby, it wasn't available, and I was like, well, I don't want to buy it. So I thought I'll have a look, see how much it is on Amazon, as I know it's one of their all-time favourites. And shockingly, I got it for free. For some reason, the audiobook version of it was free. So I quickly downloaded that. So I now have a copy of that, which is fantastic. Then I picked up a few ebooks as well. For Thick Thighs Readathon, I realised very quickly that I have very few books that are plus size rep. So I had a very quick look through Amazon, and the big one that I saw a lot of people recommend, a lot of people refer to, was Take a Hike by Mimi Brown. I didn't get around to reading Mimi Grace. I didn't get around to reading it, but the fact that it is now on my TBR means that when it comes to the next round of Thick Thighs, I'm ready, and I have a few books that I can pick. And then I also surprisingly had a very recent one that I can't even remember where I saw this book. It might have been on Storygraph or something. It's called Captured, and the series is Fallen Siren, and it follows a siren who has fallen and is now on Earth and is now working for the FBI. And her partner in the FBI is a werewolf. And again, I just typed it in to add it to my wish list, saw that it was on offer for free, and I was like, cool, download. So I now have an e-copy of that. And then the final one was The Risk, which is book one in the Mind F series. And again, this is one of the books that Ren chose for me to read for the Are We Bookishly Compatible or Not books. And I'm not going to give too much away because this vlog probably won't even be coming out until June. And yeah, all I will say is a great time was had. That is all I'm saying. But I bought that and I've already read that one. And then in terms of physical books, I fell into the works a couple of times. But that's by and by. One of the ones that I got was a free one. This was a giveaway from TikTok. Someone that I follow on TikTok was doing a giveaway. I entered it, I won it. I was like screeching with happiness because it's Christina Henry. And we all know that if I'm going to read horror, it's usually going to be a Christina Henry. Another freebie that I picked up was The Roommate by Rosie Danan. This was on the bookshelf at my supermarket, like the charity bookshelf, but the coin thing that they put out wasn't there, and there was a little sign saying we're not currently taking money donations. If you see a book, please feel free to help yourself. I did go back the next day and I donated 4 books as well, so that I was kind of felt like I was giving back. But I did pick this one up, and I think it's because I've heard about this one. I've heard reasonably good things about it, but it's one of my favorites. It's like 2 strangers who are forced to share a house, and it's forced proximity, and you know, I love that kind of thing. So, and then as I said, towards the end of the month, I started to struggle mentally, and I took a couple of weeks off YouTube and posting and social media, and I just gave myself a bit of a brain break. But during that, it was also payday. So I ended up on Vinted. Don't know how, it just happened. I've got some books that haven't yet arrived. I managed to pick up, although hopefully Editing Kirsty will have an update on this by the time this video posts and I finish editing it. But at the moment, one of the things that I ordered is the full set of the Raven Cycle books. The seller had them up, all 4 books for £4. And including delivery, it was like £7.95, and I was like, I would be an idiot to not go for that. But the other one that is on its way, it's just because I picked up a hardback copy of The Merciful Crow for £2.50, and I was like, well, I've talked about this book a lot. I really enjoy this book. I love the magic system, and I would like to do a reread and have the book to highlight and annotate. So 2 things that I've bought have both sort of disappeared since they've been bought, and I'm like, but the one that did arrive and I ordered, which is the main one that I was looking for, is this one. And this one was a bundle that she did for me, which was amazing because these should have been £15, and because of the bundle she knocked it down to £9. And these are 3 manga that I picked up. I'm also doing a 30 and 30 in May for manga. Like, as part of the Asian Readathon, I decided to expand it and not only do the Asian Readathon but also do 30 and 30 manga. So I have picked up BL Metamorphosis, which is Boys Love Metamorphosis, which follows a grandma and I think she's a teenager. Yeah, high school girl. This is a grandma who accidentally picks up a Boys Love manga and finds herself very intrigued by what she sees. And when she goes back to the shop, she meets one of the girls that works there, who is a Boys Love fanatic. And so she's like, oh, I see a budding fangirl. And apparently it sparks like a really cute, wholesome friendship. We have This Wonderful Season with You, where it's kind of like the shy, quiet, nerdy type who ends up with the like brash, outgoing ex-baseball player who's a bit of a hothead, and they end up kind of opposites attract. And then there are things I can't tell you. This one's been on my radar for a while because I just think the cover to me just looks really pretty, and I just think it's going to be beautiful. And it's like these 2 are polar opposites when it comes to personality. Again, one of them is energetic, one of them is really shy. They find that there are things that they can't say out loud even to each other, and it's just kind of like apparently it's quite a sweet, soft romance. Again, we shall see. And then the final things that I bought, all the rest of this pile are all picked up from the works. I now have an agreement with myself that when I am a big girl who goes to her appointments and goes into town, because as you know, I do struggle if I've not really got a reason to go out. I don't. So I was trying to find a way to incentivize myself to do these things, and one of them is to buy books. So I've now got in the habit, when I go into town to do things like my optician's appointments or doctor's appointments or other appointments and things like that, or even if I just take myself to the library for the day, I reward myself with picking up some books or a single book, and I will grab like a Costa, or I'll go to Wetherspoons and get a cheap lunch or something like that. And the first one of these was for, again, Thick Thighs Readathon. I picked up Zora Books Her Happy Ever After. I have read this. Unfortunately, this one was a miss for me. I only gave it 2.5 stars. The next one I have not yet read, but this one is The Problem with Perfect by Philip William Stover, and this is basically a celebrity, a style icon goes missing, so his manager asks his twin brother to step in and sort of act to pretend to be him. And unfortunately, though, the twin brother is nothing like his brother, and the manager ends up sort of falling for him, and it becomes a bit of a romance and all of this. But I think this one is, it says fans of Casey McQuiston, boyfriend material, and Beth O'Leary will love this. And I'm like, ding, 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 we have a winner. So I'm hoping this is going to be a chicken dinner. And then I kind of got all of these in one go. I went to an appointment. I was a big girl, got my eyes tested. Yeah, that appointment now means I've got to be referred to a hospital for further testing on one of my eyes, because even though the eye is in perfect health, apart from being short-sighted, they are both absolutely perfect, except my right pupil is bigger than my left, and apparently that's actually quite rare. So he was like, just gonna like rule out anything. He was like, I'm not worried, but you know, for peace of mind and the fact that my migraines are mostly on the right side of my brain, they were like, yeah, we'll just get some further testing done just to make sure. So it's like, great, cool, I now need emotional support books. So I have been influenced because there is the Chestnut Springs read along going on at the minute, which is Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, Claire from Claire's Creative Corner, and Leandra from Leandra the TBR Zero. They have been doing the Chestnut Springs read along. Wasn't interested in any way, shape or form, because I was like, cowboy romance, not my thing at all. Not interested. I caved. I got FOMO. The Works has the first 4 books, or 5 in the series. So I thought I'll pick up the first 2. If I like them, I'll run back on payday. As long as they've still got them in stock, I'll run back on payday in 2 weeks and I'll pick up the other 2. But Flawless, I have read, I gave 3 stars. There were some major flaws. But I loved the writing and I loved certain elements enough that I am excited to continue. So book 2, we're going to his grumpy brother Cade, who is the father of Luke, who is like 6, I think, 6 or 7, something, 5 or 6. But he's kind of like super grumpy, growly, scowly, and she's been the main female lead in this, whose name we don't yet know from the back, but she's been hired as his son's nanny. And I'm just like, okay, this looks fun. This looks like a book I'm going to really enjoy. And then we pick one up where I have been wanting the first book in the series for ages. I was really angry with Forbidden Planet because I put this book on like pre-order in December 2022 and it still has not been published. And that was the hardback version of it because I preferred the hardback and I didn't really want the paperback. And that was A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon or something like that. And I still really want it. But I saw The Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch, which is the 2nd or 3rd book in this series. And I thought I needed to read them in order. It turns out they can each be read as a standalone. So I did decide to cave and I will buy the paperbacks. And I'm going to start with this one. It's got, and it does have one trope that's not my favourite. It's got the amnesia trope in it because the male in this, all he knows is that people are after him and he can't remember how or why. And I'm a bit like, okay. But, you know, they did it in True Blood and I ended up really loving that storyline. If you know, you know. So maybe I'll really enjoy this one. Then I saw this one that I thought was going to really appeal to me. It's called Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. And this is basically 2 people who the female lead finds out that her birth mother, she's been adopted, but her birth mother's had another child. And now she decides to be like a kinship carer to sort of help with her new sister, but failing to meet social services financial evaluation, she is faced with a choice: see her baby sister placed in foster care or participate in a new initiative where 2 prospective guardians join households to qualify. And that's where she ends up meeting Warren, who is a mechanic's apprentice attempting to get custody of his deaf 15-year-old brother. So it's kind of given me the film, I can't remember the name of the film. It's got Josh Duhamel and Katie Heigl in it, Katherine Heigl, where they're the godparents of a little girl and the parents die and they end up having to like come life unexpected, something like that. But I love that film so much, and this is giving me that kind of vibes where it's like, you know, they've got to team up in order to be able to raise the kids, and obviously they're going to fall in love. They've got to fall in love, right? I feel like this one's going to hit me in all the feels. And then the final one that I picked up was just an on the whim. It was £1.50, and this is The Fixer by Claudia Carroll. Meg Monroe is a fixer. Got a dodgy ex, errant employer, clingy former friend. Meg, using the time-honoured arts of charm, manipulation and persuasion, can make them disappear forever. In demand and devilishly discreet, Meg has a 100% success rate. That is, until a previously disappeared, or so she thought, case turns up on her doorstep, threatening to bring her entire operation down. There is not a single case that Meg cannot fix until it becomes her own. Sounds good? So there you have it. That is the books that I picked up this spring. So a lot of romances, definitely a lot of sort of spring coloured books I've noticed. I definitely seem to be more attracted to sort of pastel-y coloured books lately. But I am excited for all of these books. And like I said, some of them I've already finished. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you think. And have you hauled any books recently? Let me know what you've been hauling. In the meantime, I hope you're good. I hope you're staying safe. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Don't forget to check out my Patreon for more bookish and writing content. And I will see you on the next video. Bye.